Alright, I'm so excited to try out this Dragon Ball game. I have like this deck here. I saw cards online, like green looked really cool. It's super thematic. I'm so excited to try it out, man. Like, I'm very hyped for these locals. Let's see who my first opponent is.
Oh, hey man, how you doing?
Hey, it's great to meet you. So this is my first game. I have this deck here. You know, like I saw the spoilers online. I'm very hyped to try out this game.
Yeah, the game is really fun and it's really balanced, in fact, you know. I hope that you'll have a great experience playing your first game.
Yeah, so I'm playing green and I'm playing like this Goku guy here. You know, it looks like pretty cool. He can be like multiple colors and he gains like these abilities. And I saw the newest spoilers. It looks so sweet. What are you playing?
Wait, green? Oh, you stupid peasant! I'm playing Xin Shenron.
Okay. I guess red is good?
Good! Red is the most skillful color in the game! Go play with your toys, little green boy!
Okay, man, I guess we'll see. Like, let's try to have some fun. Let's start the game, right?
Game! More like slaughter! Okay, I'm sorry. First we need to roll the dice to see who goes first. Oh, 76!
Okay, so I guess I'll roll, let's see, 5.
Oh, I guess I'll go first. So I activate main, I grab 2 Dragon Balls, I play them, I charge them in Z energy, then I pay 1 for Oceana Shenron. I grab another, I play, I draw 3 cards now, and I charge 3 of them into Z energy. I'll awaken turn 2.
Wow, and you did all of that in one turn? Okay, like that took forever, man. I guess I'll charge an energy, and I guess I will I attack, and then I'll pass the turn, I guess.
Oh, is that all? Are you even trying to play the game? So I do everything like last time, but now I also awaken and restand, and I hit you, and then I play my 20k double striker and hit you, and then I play my Ice Shenron, and then I hit you, and then I kill him, and I play him again, and I hit you for critical. I'm so skilled.
Okay, yeah, sure, man, I guess, you know, like, but it seems like you did really a lot there, man, like, that seems a bit too strong, if you ask me.
Too strong? Why are you complaining? Your color has dormant potential and charismatic villain, and you're telling me that my deck is too strong? Oh, the nerve of these green players!
Okay, I guess I'm dead next turn, unless I can pull something off. Okay, so now I'll have 2 energy. At least my engine starts going now. So, okay, it's payback time. Okay, so first, you know, I draw, I charge an energy. Then I need to pay 1. Okay, so first I pay 1, but I need to pay with my unison. I need to pay with unison so that then I can flip and then I can restand this. Next, I need to roll a couple of dice here, but I only get to count these ones. So with these ones, that's 4. That means that I need to warp 3/4 of my deck. This goes like immediately into the warp. Okay, so after that, because I've milled 4ths of my deck, I need to pay 2 energy and charge 1 of my actual energies into Z energy. Following that, I need to lend you my charger. I need to attack with one of my Pokemon. Okay. I need to solve quantum physics equation of green divided by time equals bad. Then I get to play a card with Mr. Satan on it, after which I get to summon actual Satan, and then I get to mill from my deck until I mill a non-green card. 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I milled only 5 cards. Okay, then I get to warp my leader. I get to take a life, and then I get to bring him back. And then after all of this, I finally get to attack with 15k single strike.
Oh well, I guess I'll just say 30k triple strike. You lose.
Man, this is garbage. I'm out. What's going on, guys? This is Damien from The Lookout, and I hope that you enjoyed the skit. I've been going over it with Nina for some time now. We'll be implementing more and more of them because it's super fun filming them. And yeah, today we are talking about green being bad. We are 3 sets into the Zenkai block and green is still awful. So let's discuss that. But before we begin this video, hit that like and subscribe button. We are on our way to 3,000 subs and we're trying to get there by the end of March. Now, roll the video. As with all of our videos, let's start with the breakdown. So in this video, we'll be talking about green since the start of the Zenkai block, green cards versus cards in other colors. That one is pretty interesting. What's the issue this time around? Is it hopeless? And we will end the video with a summary. Let's go. First off, let's go over all of the green leaders in the Zenkai block. So far, we have 4 of them, plus 2 more coming out next month. We have King Piccolo, Turtle Skull, Gogeta, and finally Broly. How did they perform? Well, not very well. King Piccolo, too fragile. Roshi, Turtle Skull deck, is the only actually good green deck. The only green deck from the Zenkai block that had any sort of relevant result. Roshi has been hard carrying green for the last, 5 months or so. Then we have Gogeta. Gogeta is just too weak. King Piccolo is too fragile. Gogeta is just too weak. And finally Broly, and Broly is just too inconsistent. So far, green leaders in Zenkai block are they're kind of bad, to be honest. Speaking of Roshi, so Roshi or the Turtle Skull deck, out of all Zenkai decks from the start of the Zenkai block, this is the only successful one. The only successful green one. And Roshi has been topping some of the bigger competitive events. The deck is very good. I called it trash. I was completely wrong. The deck is very, very good. However, one can argue that this is more due to fated rivals and their synergy rather than Roshi and Turtle Skull. Speaking of fated rivals, these 2 cards have hard carried green since the start of the Zenkai block. Since Zenkai set 1, these 2 have hard carried green decks. They are phenomenal. They're so good that green decks really can't do much without them. They're like the generic boss monsters for every green deck. However, now you might consider this to be like a strong point. To be like, okay, Damien, why are you complaining about green if you have a generic pair of boss monsters that can go into any green deck? Well, however, green pays a huge price for having these 2 cards. Now that you have seen Fated Rivals, the big generic super strong boss monster, it hits 3 times, it removes something ignoring barrier, it kills a unison, it discards 2 cards, it's big, it's huge, whatever. Let's take a look at 6 other boss monsters from the start of the Zenkai block. All of these are better than Fated Rivals. All of these, in one way or another, are better. They either hit harder, they have more protection, they come out faster, they wipe the board, they deal direct damage, they restand things, they remove stuff. They have something, at least 1 to 2 things that they do better than Fated Rivals. They're just flat out better. The only issue with them is that they are archetype locked, and Fated Rivals aren't archetype locked. But before you go and like, well, Damien, you know they're not archetype locked, you can play them wherever. Yeah, you need to dedicate 6 to 8 slots in your deck for Fated Rivals. Here you just dedicate 4, and that's it. And most of the time you'll be able to tutor for these because they are your engine's boss monsters. So yeah, all of them, in one way or another, are better than what green got. However, it gets even worse. It gets even worse than how boss monsters work in different colors. Let's compare how green is treated in comparison to other colors. For starters, for 2 whole metagames, Zenkai Set 1, Zenkai Set 2, 2 whole metagames, since the first Zenkai set was released, these 2 have dominated the game unchecked until the end of 2022. Gogeta and Sin just flat out dominated the game completely unchecked, like over 70% of decks for a very long time on big tournaments were red and were either Gogeta or Sin. It took a long time for them to finally get hit, and they didn't even get hit too hard. Like, Gogeta is still the best red deck. Sin is still doing okay. But what's happening when it comes to green? Here is what happens when green is good. This boss monster, this Gogeta boss monster, the boss monster of the awful Gogeta BR deck, was quite awful. And it currently is quite awful. But for a very limited window of time, it ended up being actually quite good because there was this weird ruling. There was this ruling situation which allowed you to get rid of a 6-drop which didn't have to be in the battle area in order to play this guy for 1 energy. This ruling was adjusted in record time. In record time! And this card was awful once again. Like I told you, Sin and Gogeta, the red ones, have been dominating for months. This card gets, this like ruling. It's like, okay, it works as flat out adjusted in less than 2 weeks. Like in record time, killed, immediately gone. That's it. Meanwhile, red decks just kept on dominating. Next issue, and this is one that actually prompted the video. This card is from the newest SS4 Goku deck. We'll be covering it a bit later this week. Look at this novel of conditions. Like, look at this actual book of stuff that you need to do. Like, you need to have an Android 18 in play for him to gain critical. He's a 15k critical. Then you need to have 3 or more energy and 3 or more bang cards and or cards with GT in their character name, all green and without Son Goku GT in your Z energy battle area and or drop, and then you play him from the warp. So you need to have like all of these to play a 15k, sometimes critical guy on turn 3. 15k crit. Now for comparison, take a look at this boss monster. Okay, this is a boss monster in Ripku, Haloku, however you wanna call it, blue deck. The previous Goku one isn't even a boss monster, it's just a random Goku card in the deck. So, deflect, triple strike, barrier, blocker, 30k, restands himself, restands an energy, like does everything, removes the stuff. And how do you play him? 4 energy. If there are no battle cards in your drop, play him from your hand. That's it. If there are no battle cards in your drop, play him from your hand. In a deck that just ramps. In a color that just ramps. Compared to this, free energy, pay 1, and get like the other condition going for a 15k who maybe gets critical. Compared to 30k deflect, triple strike, barrier, blocker guy who removes stuff and restands your energy, and yeah, it's bad. But let's immediately address the idea of like, no, Damien, you're being biased. Yeah, I'm being biased. Okay, SS4 Son Goku, to hell and back, the same card. Here is a list of conditions for playing some of the boss monsters that I showed you. For energy, the blue one, yeah, no battle cards in the drop, play him, does everything on the planet. Sin Shenron, Omega Shenron comes in, kills you. 2 energy, if your leader is a red Shadow Dragon card or a Z leader, so you can just put this in any red deck as long as it's a Z leader, and you have 3 or more energy. 30k triple strike, removes things when you play him. Then Gohan 1, 3 energy. Yeah, you think like, yeah, 3 energy. The Z battle card removes the 2 energy cost, so 1 energy, limit 1, 30k dual attacker, I believe. Yeah, also rest stuff, also get stuff if you have Pan. What's next, you know? The Boo one. Yeah, he doesn't get the full effect, but like he still gets his keywords and he's still huge. Limit pay 1 energy. Pay 1 energy. And if you have 4 or more, bam. 1 energy, 30 something, I believe, double strike at least. Don't have the card here, but I think it was that, or it's something. It's definitely not 15k critical. And then finally you have the SS4 Gogeta Xeno, which is like, okay, this one has a bit more of a text, but he also does stuff when you play him, and plus he gives your leader plus 5k, like for until the start of your next turn. So he's a Senzu Bean, and he's a huge beater. And now you have free energy, meet a miniature novella of conditions for 15k, and maybe you get critical. Maybe. Now, there will still be those of you who will just come and say like, well, you're being biased. You are comparing a random SS4 Goku in the newest archetype with boss monsters. Of course boss monsters are going to be stronger. Okay then, let's compare boss monsters. Compare the text above and keep in consideration that this boss monster requires that you pay 1, your opponent needs to have 3 or more energy, so your opponent is on turn 3, not you, and you need to send 1 Gogeta 6 drop from the battle area into Z energy. Okay, that's what you need to do to get this guy out. And when the ruling situation happened, paying 1, opponent having 3 energy, and you sending a 6 drop from your hand instead of, you know, from the field, to play this guy as a limit 1 was considered too much. It was too powerful compared to what we have above, and to the other stuff that I showed you. That was considered too powerful. Now comes the part where I anger a whole bunch of people. So there is this argument that it's okay for green to be awful, and green needs to be awful because green has dormant potential. And if green was good, it would be too strong because of dormant potential. This is not an argument at all. This isn't an argument. That's nonsense. In this meta, dormant barely does anything anymore. It barely does anything. Like, okay, sure, you play it for free if your unison doesn't die in the meantime, and then you still get smacked in the face by 25 to 30k double strikers, triple strikers, and then you get to survive 1 more turn. It doesn't do anything anymore. Today, unisons get nuked without ever swinging into them. Like, okay, you can set down a unison like, oh, I'm happy, I have my dormant potential. Yeah, then Black Smoke Dragon comes in and just nukes it. So, good luck. Cooler, for example. Cooler is a very good example because it's one of those decks that can really abuse dormant potential because it has a 25k barrier blocker to protect it. It can't compete with current decks. We had some early tournament results. Cooler not breaking into top 8 anywhere. So Cooler still gets stomped by other decks. The best green deck to use dormant potential in can't compete right now. It can compete, but it gets stomped by other red and blue decks. The idea that dormant is too good is a leftover from a former era in the game's history. Like, it's an archaic idea. It was too good back in the day. Back in the early days of Unison Warrior block, Dormant was amazing. It's not that good anymore. It existing shouldn't hold back an entire color. Back when this existed, you didn't have, 30k triple strikers on demand like every single turn. You didn't have that back then. Now, every color just cheats out a boss monster turn 3. And you're like, oh, you cannot attack me anymore. Oh. And then, he just says, okay, yeah, sure. And just, swings 30k at you, combos his hand, deals 3 damage. And then you're like, okay, I guess I lose next turn, so. Yeah, it's not as good as it used to be. Well then, Damien, is it hopeless? Is it just hopeless for green? We've had so many sets where green could have been improved, it could have been better, but still nothing, so is it hopeless? Yes and no. For example, look at this card right here. It's from the upcoming set. It's proof, along with Fated Rivals and the green Gohan rare, it's proof that good green cards exist. Bandai is still capable of creating good green cards. Cooler support was a huge leap in the right direction. Cooler support was awesome. The idea that green has a new direction where it removes unisons, that's great. That's also cool. So I'm glad to see that Bandai is sticking with a direction for green. Every deck plays a bit differently, but all of them hate unisons. So that's cool. There is some coherent direction here. However, green will never be good as long there is this constant fear that if it's slightly better, it will be too broken. That's nonsense. That's nonsense. Cooler is the pinnacle of green right now. Cooler and Ultimate Cell, which is close second in my opinion. They're Cooler, basically. The pinnacle of green at the moment. Still not good enough. So yeah, green being slightly better, being too broken, that's nonsense. But it's not hopeless. Bandai is making huge leaps in the right direction. Now, before I dive into the summary, I just want to address one final thing, because I know there's gonna be at least one person in the comments saying you're wrong. Green is actually good. Green is actually strong. You just need to know how to play it. No, it isn't. It isn't good. I've shown you earlier in this video, the hoops that green needs to jump through just to do something, at very best, green is okay. But when you compare it to what other colors do for far less, when you look at their payoffs and their lines of play, green just falls flat. Oh, green can still beat some meta decks. Yeah, if you fight an uphill battle during the entire game, maybe you squeeze out a win. But then again, blue will just drop a guy, not even on turn 4, earlier, for 4 energy, just slap a guy who removes your field, restands himself, restands an energy, hits you 30k triple strike to face, is a blocker with barrier, he's deflect, he has everything on the planet. Gogeta will just hit you with a guy that you literally cannot stop in green, you just flat out lose. Sin just hits you with a 30k guy who just removes something every turn. Even on your turn he removes stuff, and then he just gives him barrier. Yellow does yellow stuff. So no, I am sorry. Green isn't good. When you compare what green does, even some of the better cards in green, what they do, compared to what cards in other colors do, it just isn't good. It's super underwhelming. You do so much. You have sets of conditions to fulfill playing anything remotely good, and you do so much for so little in return. Super little. But then other colors do so little for so much in return. So green just feels bad. Let's finish off this video with a summary. So green is pretty bad at the moment. At the moment it's pretty bad. I'm pretty certain that the best green deck is Cooler. Then you have Gotenks. Gotenks is okay. Then you have other decks with Fated Rivals like Roshi. Like, there are some okay decks, but green overall is pretty bad at the moment. The new anti-unison direction is cool. I applaud Bandai. Bandai, congratulations, the anti-unison direction is awesome, and I'm so happy that you're sticking with it. That it's not like a one-time thing. So props, congratulations for committing to that. Awesome. It is actually very, very strong, and it is very relevant. So I love it. I absolutely love it. However, the archetypes are very weak. So like the direction that you picked, Bandai, is strong. Some generic cards are strong, like this Android 18 and Goku is phenomenal. But the archetypes themselves, the decks, are weak. They are too weak compared to other decks. So it doesn't matter how much good generic support you put into an archetype and how much you dedicate yourself towards a certain direction, if the archetype itself cannot compete. That's the issue that we're having here. So green needs more power across all across the board. That's it basically. It needs more power in the archetype itself, with a higher payoff for these huge conditions. Green has massive conditions and you get so little in return. You should change this a bit to fit the other colors more, like, for example, once again, I go back to the blue boss monster, which is just like pay for energy. It's super easy to do, just overwhelm your drop. And like, okay, like I don't have battle cards now, pay for energy, gigantic guy comes out. Compared to what green needs to do, it feels a bit bad. So green needs higher payoffs and more power all across the board. Cooler support was a massive, massive leap in the right direction, and I really hope that we will see great green cards in the future. That's it for the video. Let me know in the comments below, how do you feel on the current state of green? What are your thoughts on green? If you're a green player, are you upset with how bad green is at the moment? Or maybe I'm not seeing something. Maybe you think that green is good. Let me know in the comments below. I read all of your comments. I try to respond to everything. I love our little community. And before you leave, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps out a lot. And maybe we can get to our goal of 3,000 subs by the end of March. This has been Damien from The Lookout, and I'll see all of you in the next video.